Well, good evening, everyone. Michael, soothing here. I hope that the rain in the background is not too distracting. It's pounding down on the skylight, so it's a little bit of a racket, but maybe it'll add a soothing element to the video, I hope, and not be. Tonight I wanted to take a look at kind of the differences between a newer National Geographic from 2020 and an older one from how long ago? 1951. Wow. We're talking a 69-year difference there. I just thought it would be interesting to see the old versus the new. We'll start with the new, since the new is usually more boring than the old, but this one has something about Mount Everest. One of the things you'll notice about the new Geographic is that almost every article now is about how we're destroying the planet, which I think gets a little bit old, because even though some of the topics are important, I used to read the Geographic in order to see amazing different places in the world, different peoples, different cultures, fascinating scientific stuff, fascinating animals and plant life, and they still have some of that, of course. But now, every article is infused with statements about climate change and so forth, and it kind of gets old to be lectured at all the time, like anybody's unaware of those things. And so I wish they would go a little bit back to enthralling us with interesting things we've never seen, rather than lecturing us on every page about how we're destroying the planet. But how the world sees, we're not talking corona. No way, guys. They've had several articles about this in recent Geographics. For decades, the world ignored pandemic No, I'm telling you, this is not a topic for ASMR. We are not made for this new normal. No, we're not. And we're not made on ASMR channels for any discussion about that. So let's get on to the roof of the world issue and see what's going on Mount Everest. Is this the summit? The sun rises above the Tibetan Plateau. You need a Sherpa if you're going to make it to the top of Everest, I think. Sometimes I need a Sherpa just to figure out, what's being said around me by strange people. As the sun rises, Pasang Kaji Sherpa front. Where's the Sherpa? Is that here? I can't see. I guess that's the Sherpa right there. And Lukai Tane Sherpa passed the 28,700 foot level on Mount Everest. The big question, did George Mallory and Sandy Irvine get this far, or perhaps reach the top in 1924? There's controversy because some claim they made it to the top. Some claim they did not. The great mystery of Everest. Do you think Bigfoot lives up there? And if so, or no, wait, they call it Yeti in the Himalayas, an abominable snowman. But what I've always wondered is if you had a large ape-like snowman creature living up in the ice, what in the world would it eat? And how would it reproduce up there? See, that's why I'm a skeptic. Look at that. It's all glacier, basically. Hard ice. Somewhere in this article, they're going to tell us why climate change is going to eliminate climbs up Everest, but I'll skip that part. Lost on Everest. I watched a movie the other day. It was a docudrama about a team who made it to the summit, but then they got caught in a storm on the way down. Was that on Amazon or Netflix? Or TV? I can't remember. Anyway, sometime we'll talk about movies that are on Amazon or Netflix, and you can tell me what your favorite films are that are on right now, and I'll tell you mine. You can tell me in comments. Bound for the North. Cal. Climbers typically spend a night or two at 23,000 feet to acclimate themselves before a try at the summit. Many people die of various elevation sicknesses when they try to climb. There's a lot of climbers. Look, do I have a pen with me? No. I'll have to use my glasses to point. All these guys are trying to climb up Everest to the summit. It used to be like 2 people would try to get up there. Now it's hundreds. So they can say they climbed it. Apparently there's a big problem up there with trash at the top or along the route. Discarded stuff and empty oxygen bottles and such. If I even made it this far, I would probably die right there, because you have to be young and very healthy to survive a climb to the summit of Everest. Or you have to be a Sherpa, one or the other. Some of these guys have run up and down the mountain many times. Is it relaxing to have that rain in the background? Or is it distracting you and irritating you? I hope it's relaxing. Maybe I should do a whisper video of this. The top of the world seems as distant as the Milky Way from Advanced Base Camp. There's the Milky Way, right there. Have you ever looked at the Milky Way on an absolutely dark black night out in the middle of a desert or somewhere far, far from all sources of light? It's really amazing. I looked at the stars for some long time once when I was going out to China Lake in the California desert and working out there for a couple of weeks. I went way out into the middle of nowhere one night and just stared at the sky. It was fascinating. Saw some shooting stars, aka meteors, which become meteorites once they're on the ground, if they hit. The tinkling of bells accompanies yaks hauling propane and other supplies all the way to the advanced base camp at 21,000 feet. This is higher than they can go on Everest Nepali side, where Sherpas carry everything up the Khumbu Icefall. The yaks. It's kind of a slang term for a stupid person. Have you ever, or kind of a sarcasm, have you ever heard someone called a yak? It's a term somebody used to use that I used to know. They'd call people a yak whenever they were a little bit miffed by, looks chilly up there. High hopes. This shows the various routes they can take to try to get up to the summit. The crevasse. A Chinese climber claimed that in 1960 he saw a body in a crevasse at approximately 27,000 feet. Following this clue, the 2019 team zeroed in on their search area. They tried to find, there was a mitten found, an oxygen tank. They were trying to find evidence of Mallory and Irving's planned route to the 29,000-foot summit, which, by the way, is 8,850 meters, if you want to do Euro speak. All right? I'm not going to go through this whole story, because if I do, we'll be going too long, and I have to still do some walking tonight on the treadmill since it's raining outside before I sleep. Although I'm so relaxed now with you all that I don't really want to walk on a treadmill or lift weights. I actually just want to go to sleep after this. Dressed for the summit. This shows how they would have dressed in 1924, and this is kind of how we dress now when we go out because of the virus thing, see? We dress kind of like this. So we're all trying to climb the summit of Mount Everest every time we go outside. But nowadays, they have a much more advanced climbing gear with all kinds of thermal layers and advanced equipment of all kinds. I think the earlier stuff was much heavier too. Warmer clothing. In 1924, Mallory took a 20-pound two-tank system with 1,070 liters of oxygen, good for about 9 hours. One modern tank weighs the same, but holds twice as much oxygen. So modern climbers have an advantage over 1924. But then most things are a little more advanced now, right? Cars can go, 10 times as fast and get better mileage at the same time, The rugged vest pocket Kodak camera. They had to take a film camera with them, but it's never been recovered, the Mallory Expedition film camera. No one knows it's buried somewhere in ice. Pickaxes. Yeah. If you're interested, you can probably a pair of sleeping bags crossed in the snow signaled to teammates in 1924 that all hope was lost of finding Mallory or Irvin. It's a mystery whether they made it to the summit. No one knows. The looming crisis over water. See, every article now in the Geographic is going to be about some crisis due to mankind or climate change. They're taking selfies. Pilgrims here. The Indus River, glacial stream endangered, blah blah. Yeah. See, I don't want to get depressed every time I read the Geographic. I want to see other places and cultures, things like that. There's a power generating dam over there. Be careful not to get electrocuted if you don't mind. All right, let's see what else is in the modern day. We'll go past the water crisis thing. Make your own glaciers. Oh? What do you do when the snows you depend on for water are melting too quickly and glaciers have receded high into the mountains? At the northern tip of India, the people are dealing with climate change by creating huge cones of ice that desperate farmers will have when they need it. Okay, like I said, every article, climate change, but that's a pretty cool looking pyramid of snow and ice there. It almost looks surreal, like somebody did this as a fantasy painting, but it's real. Conical ice Stupas serve as water towers, storing winter meltwater for spring planting. The youth group that built this one in the northern India village of Gaya also installed a cafe in its base. You can go in and have a cup of coffee while this giant thing melts on you, right? What if it collapses while you're in there? I think I'd be a little concerned about it, but that's just me. He's going to have a really big glass of ice water, so that's a big ice cube right there. Or maybe an alcoholic beverage that needs ice. I don't know. There's another one. Here's one with a big ice sculpture inside. That's kind of cool. Dancing in ice. It looks very interesting. And they still have good Himalaya's ghost, leopards, snow leopards. That's a cool looking cat, isn't it? Cool cat, as they would say back in the 1950s, before I came of age. A male snow leopard marks his territory. Stray cat strut. I'm a ladies' guy. I'm a feline Casanova. What's the next line of that song? Can't remember. By the Stray Cats. Very nice shot. Something I can't remember. They're able to find a kill. I think they get sheep. Stuff like that. Mountain hunters. Very cool. It shows how they can run fast. The equipment that they are designed with there. The camera trap caught this one on a mountain overlooking the Spiti Valley. A new window into the weather. See, I told you, every article. Scientists' unprecedented data on storm shaping winds and climate change. Okay, see, it just gets old to have that in every single article. It's okay once in a while, guys, but come on. Let's go to the Nostalgia Geographic. See what we have in here from 1950. This thing's a little beat up looking. But if you were, 70 years old, you might be a little beat up looking too. That's all. Dumont Television. I've never heard of a brand named Dumont, but I guess there was one. They show someone happily watching this TV in their living room, dressed in formal evening gowns. It was funny how they did commercials back then. Sanka coffee. But I don't think Sanka is coffee. It was made out of something else. Caffeine free. They were. Uh-oh. There's child abuse going on here because he didn't have his caffeine free coffee. And here's a guy who can't sleep because he didn't have caffeine coffee. Caffeine, guys. What's to be done? Should you cut down on coffee or give it up entirely? Has his old man been hitting the coffee again? He's crying. He got seriously spanked. See, I don't think you would see that in today's Geographic, but it's rather humorous in a way. Unless you were, getting beat back in the 50s. I think most of us took a little bit of a licking now and then. The oil driller and the PhD. Okay. The pleasure dome of the new Super Chief, Santa Fe. They were advertising trains back then. Saved 100. Oh, Hasselblad. Swedish reflex camera. They still make these, and they're almost exactly the same. 70 years later. Big film format, high resolution. It's kind of sad that they're being put out of business by, you know, digital cameras. There is something to be said for the large format film era. American Express traveler's checks. Don't you love these old dictaphone? This was the most advanced technology of the day. I wonder if they ever could have imagined the little cell phone would pack all kinds, dozens and dozens of things into it. I don't think they ever could have imagined that. You would have movies and internet and, video chat and games and, advanced computer operations and everything under the sun. They knew the future was coming, but no one would have imagined back then. Rock of Ages, funeral, your burial plot monument. You don't see that in every magazine, do you? For your summer safety, when sunning, remember the sun is strong medicine, and sunburn can cause an annual loss of several million workdays. Not to mention skin cancer, but they didn't know about that then. But they did say prepare a sun protective preparation before exposure. What else here? They always have this happy family in the sedan going on a trip to the mountain. When motoring, constantly watch other cars on the road. Here's a guy drifting over the center line. Well, some things never change, right? France's past lies in Languedoc. An unbelievable landscape. That's not a real photograph, guys. Someone did an illustration. Pioneers in better transportation, Bud, have no idea what they made. Who knows? 20,000 Frenchmen packed the ancient amphitheater in Nimes to see a bullfight. That was in France? A Roman arena. Thought they only did those in Spain. Maybe that was back then, huh? Nimes Roman Temple. I don't really like bullfights. I'm not a radical animal rights guy, but I don't want to see, somebody stabbing a bull, getting it all pissed off. That's just me. Nimes Roman Temple inspired Thomas Jefferson's design of the Virginia state capitol. Yeah, I could make a joke here, but I'm going to pass because I want you to be relaxed. See, some of the illustrations were in black and white back then, not even in color. Here's some lace makers exhibit their winter work. They're doing all kind of lace stuff. This is the kind of thing that shows up on your great-grandmother's coffee table or something, or end table, right? That you would actually never have in your house, but what can I say? French pigs, do you think they snort with a French accent? I bet they do. Now, come equipped with handles such as tails and ears. Ooh, check that castle out. Oh, it's a chapel. St. Michael's Chapel. Oh, named after me. How did they know I was going to come along, say, later in life, a few generations? 10 centuries old. Crowns a volcanic exclamation point. Ooh, this is like the big rock down in San Luis at Morro Bay on the California coast. It's a big volcanic outcropping of rock that's harder than the surrounding sedimentary rock. So when all of that erodes away, that softer rock, you have this big volcanic dome left behind. Ages ago, soft cone and crater eroded away, leaving a hard plug of basalt. That's what that rock is called, basalt. And somebody built a chapel on top. That would be easy to defend. I think I see kind of a stair. Wouldn't it be cool to live way up there? It'd be a long climb. Guess it would take you a while. Good exercise. I'm not going to turn this sideways for you because I'm too lazy. But it says they're making a big pilgrimage. Petitioners robe like surgeons. They're robed like surgeons, and they're going to the city of Lipoi, wherever that is. Here's another one that's sitting on a big outcropping of lava rock, basalt. Red roofs girdle the fortress. It's a castle called Poyanak Castle. I love this all. I was able to go to France and see some of these things as a part of my work. And so I was fortunate in that way to be able to go to many European countries. And that's why I did love the rocket science job. I got to go to a lot of subsidiaries and our advanced equipment suppliers in Europe, in Norway and Spain and Germany, Sweden and France, Italy, Germany. Ice to Eskimos. Ice to Eskimos, and not a single mention of climate change. Can you believe it? I don't know. Realm of the King of Cheeses. France. Made in Milieu. Glove perfection. Now you would think that National Geographic could have afforded some color photos back then, but I guess they were saving money on film. Here's a giant aqueduct that the Romans built. Or is it a rugged monument to Romans? What does it say? Using no cement, imperial engineers constructed an aqueduct to carry pure water from Uzès to Nimes. They overcame contours with bridges, tunnels, and siphons. They hung scaffolds. Da-da-dee-dee. That's amazing. The aqueduct's waters flow no more. Grass grows on the stone. Still, that was a very advanced engineering project for so long ago, 20 centuries ago. There are troubadours, or painting of troubadours. They sing for golden flowers in the language of yes. Well, that sounds good, the language of yes, because most of the time these days, we all hear the language of no. So wouldn't it be nice to hear the, oh look, what luxury, a color photograph. Farmer's daughter cooking stew, quickens the flames with bellows tube. Were they trying to rhyme that? Paul Bauti, his wife and 5 children, live a frugal existence in 2 small rooms in cliffside Castelbau. Their pantry stands above the hearth. Hopefully none of the foods are heat sensitive there, where their pantry is. It's all about France from a long time ago. Creamy limestone cliffs. I guess they mean in color, because they're not really creamy. Capped with green overhang. Oh, they got luxurious again and gave us color. Dijon-like tower and loophole windows give Albi Cathedral a fortress look. That is quite an impressive and huge cathedral. I wouldn't mind visiting this area here just to see inside. Oh, look. We get to see inside. Very ornate. But it's time for water again. This video is going a little bit long, guys. But that makes it easier for you to go to sleep, right? Is this Carcassonne? It is. I went to this castle. It's huge. And it's like a city inside. It is a city inside. Carcassonne springs out of the age of the knights. Towers and mile-long walls present an incredible picture. Basically, they had this giant castle they could protect with an entire small city inside, full of homes and shops and things like that. I got to go there when I had a weekend in between gigs, and I was able to drive to the Mediterranean and stop at Carcassonne on the way back to where I was working. Bursting rockets paint the sky. Carcassonne burns with simulated fire. Are the people in France actually rude or not? Or is that a myth? Do I have any French viewers? If I do, I'm sure you're not rude. But I gotta tell you that when I was there, I did encounter a few people that were pretty rude to me. Once they knew I was from the US of A and didn't speak the language, I went into a restaurant one time where they just basically wouldn't serve me. So I'm not quite sure what that was all about. Oh, we're back to black and white. A farmer cuts his wheat. Hungry sheep and goats rush in. Fools rush in, but also goats rush in. Wonderland and long wood gardens. This photo should be in color. They're going to show foliage. Don't you think? Ooh, touch system on the fountain keyboard plays symphonies in water and color. Wow, I bet that was so impressive in its day. Before computers, they had something like a computer they could use to control their fountains. There they are. Like the ones in Vegas, but in a much nicer setting. They've got big colored lights and stuff. Wonder if they're still there. Longwood fountains, like geysers or file, but drench the sky. If you're watching this from France, tell me if they still have this there. They have an old faithful like in Yellowstone here, see? Big geysers. I don't know if it's still there or not. April, rhododendron. Look at that big rhodo. Do you know that out here on the Oregon coast, it's like the rhododendron capital of the world. We have thousands of these plants, big rhodo plants everywhere, both domesticated that people have in their yards and wild in the forests. Sort of like rhodos love it here. It's like the rhodo capital of the world out here. There's a rhododendron festival, or I should say, there used to be. There wasn't one this last summer, for reasons that you already know, and which I won't discuss. There's various horticultural delights, which again I'm too lazy to turn sideways for you, so okay, I'll turn one of them sideways here. There. Wait, which way was right side up and upside down? I was the other way, so I think I have to turn it like that. The light's too reflective. See? The light is too reflective. some hairstyling going on. And they're pretty good. And the hairstyles weren't too crazy yet in the 50s. In the 60s, they got kind of weird, didn't they? All piled up on the women had it piled up on their head and stuff. Labrador Canoe Adventure. Fairyland mist and color. Compose liquid fireworks. They're still in those fountains. Back to the black and white. Wrestling a canoe through the rapids requires a mountain goat's footwork. Well, I would drown within about 1 minute of trying this, but I don't have good balance anymore. It's one of the things that happens to you sometimes when you get Labrador is like, I don't know, thousands of lakes when you get up there. You know, lots of mosquitoes too, but great fishing. So if you want to go to a fisherman's paradise, go north of New York and Quebec and up to Labrador. But you gotta go in the middle of summer because it's gonna be cold most of the time. Most of the year. In immensity. Giant rivers. Grand Falls, continent's greatest, next to Niagara, pours out its beauty in a wilderness. I wonder if it's still unspoiled like that, or if they've built up a bunch of stuff on each side, like what they did to Niagara. They kind of messed Niagara up by building things all around it, casinos and things. A forest fire cleared the site of Burnt Creek, becoming booming headquarters, something here. Forest fire. There used to be many forest fires. Back in the 20s and 30s and 40s, of course, we had some bad ones. This year, too. Rainbow. My daughter loves rainbows. She would like this photograph here in the gorge there. Canoeing. They were made out of wood back then, so if you hit some rocks, good luck to you. This one has a name, Trout. I like to fish for the trout. Yeah, good luck if you hit a large rock. Hey, I'm jealous. This guy's fishing here. How come he gets to fish and I don't? I did go some this year and caught some fish, some small salmon I had to throw back because they were undersized, but also some nice trout that I was able to bring home and cook. Now, that's more like my kind of rafting there, right? Landlubber rafting. There is a log cabin where you don't get to stand up. I would be far too claustrophobic, actually. You have to crawl through the opening. Grand Falls, black and white again. Geographic wanted to save half of the money. Spain's silkworm gut. Spain's gift to fishing and surgery. They used to make nets out of the silkworm stuff, I think. There's the silkworms. They kind of gross me out. Especially when they show a blow-up version here, you know. They take, well, yeah, that's too disgusting for me. But, yeah, what can I say? 36,000 strands of silkworm gut represents the life work of 18,000 worms. Fishermen use 70% of the gut. Surgeons take the rest. What do fishermen do with it? The salmon flies are knotted to the heaviest gut. Finer strands are used to catch trout. Sutures are made and just, yeah, okay. Anyway, versatile wood waits on man. They're all climbing poles and doing something. A mammoth sequoia, perhaps 2,000 years old, joins the nation's lumber pile. Americans pay $13 to $14 billion a year for timber products. Our wood crop. Yeah, these California lumbermen have the 12-foot thick log with a power-driven chainsaw. See, nowadays, this would be very frowned. Nobody would be allowed to cut down an old-growth sequoia. So I would agree with the modern Geographic in this case if they said, don't be cutting down a 2,000-year-old tree, right? Goes back to the time of Christ. If it lived that long, we should leave it alone. I would agree with that conservation ethic. Trees in Oregon grow so fast, they can't hardly log them fast enough, but they're all regrown in place with new saplings. And they grow so fast that it's a sustainable forest management. You don't have to cut old trees to have billions of tons of lumber, because here it grows so fast you can't stop it. Trojan horse, antiquity's wooden booby trap, accomplished the fall of Troy. There's the big rendition of the Trojan horse. Do you know the story? My preferred version of the telling is in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Okay? Those of you who know the story and have seen that movie are going to laugh with me about that. Idaho loggers battle a river. Logging is a tough job. Can you imagine a tougher job? There are a few, but not many. In the old days, a lot of loggers, would work themselves to death by their early 30s. Such a tough profession, or injuries and things, it was tough. I hope the page turning is not uber loud. I'm so neurotic today, I keep worrying about noises. But that's because I want you to be fully relaxed. Don't take any wooden nickels. She's happy to do so. Chase National Bank treasures more than 1,000 wooden nickels in a money collection totaling 75,000 pieces. Some displays are bill-shaped, others resemble playing cards, oyster shells, or watermelons. I bet they're worth a lot of money today. I bet they're worth a whole lot of money today, actually. Thirsty cellulose sponges can sop up water 20 times their weight. Yep. Wood flattens ball with a 2,000-pound blow. This is back when they used woods instead of metals for golf clubs. Not a Revolutionary War cannon, but old wooden mains. Tree trunks with 6-inch bores were laid as water conduits in days when iron and concrete were scarce. How did they seal them up on each end? I think they would be very leaky. They used to show all these master craftsmen and stuff in the old days in the Geographic. They don't do that much anymore. Kodak. Now we're back to color because Kodak is advertising here. The film industry went away, didn't it? There's a tiny fraction of it still, but not much. You can go to South Africa on the Faralline's ships. See the world's mightiest Victoria Falls. You can bind your National Geographics in big volumes. Who knew? You will be rested when arriving in Colorado's mountain land on the Union Pacific Streamliners, the city of Denver or the city of St. Louis Streamliner. I used to draw these trains when I was a kid. I was so fascinated with trains, and I still am, guys. I'm gonna take a train trip someday. Yes, I am, for sure. Iceberg weather all summer long by getting this air conditioning unit right here. Valley Forge Military Academy, Roosevelt Military Academy, St. John's Military. Every one of these is a military academy. Strange. Bet you can't even advertise those now. New gun director is good news for the country. Call to arms. Once again, the research and manufacturing of the Bell system. You mean the old telephone system built giant guns? Strange. Bell Labs' new electrical thinking machine aims an anti-aircraft gun like this one. Okay. Oh, this is great. Look at this early IBM ad. Here is a computer, guys, getting your answers at electronic speed. IBM's vast engineering know-how is helping business, industry, and armed forces get the answers fast. And they show these giant hardwired computers that they were building back then, the IBM company. And this would be about 1/1,000,000th or less of the power that's in your cell phone now. This giant machines that needed fans cooling them and could barely do anything. You know, it's amazing how far we've come, but there's an early IBM ad. They were based in New York, Madison Avenue. And they built a big factory, a big plant in California, in the Silicon Valley, close to where I used to live. I remember seeing it when I was young and thinking, I'll go to work there. I didn't, but almost did. Hormel ham. There's a brand that's still around, guys. Are you going to get together for Thanksgiving? Even though the governor says you can't. I think we're going to have turkey. But it says we have to limit our size to 6 people or less on threat of jail time. So, yeah, not sure they would really follow through on that, but I don't really like sugary stuff on my ham, but that's just me. Some people do. I say, leave it salty and savory, you know. I don't like duck l'orange or, you know, pineapple on ham or any of that kind of thing. Sweet and sour. Guys, this is kind of long. I hope you're asleep by now, but if you're not, please give this video a thumbs up and click on the bell so you'll be notified of new videos. Thank you for watching. Don't ASMR and drive. Take care, everyone. Oh, they always came in these big cans. Yeah. Family-sized version of the Epicure's Delight. Same tender pink meat and same delicious flavor. No bone. All lean with just enough fat. Practically all lean. Just enough fat. To slice cold, to bake, to fry. 1.5 pound canned ham. Alright, everyone. Don't ASMR and drive. Bye-bye for now. Hey, it stopped raining a while back, and I finally noticed. Bye-bye.